Well, good evening. It is now 6:02, so we are going to go ahead and get things started. We're so glad that you all could join us on this Wednesday, this very cool Wednesday evening. Welcome to the April installation of the Parent Town Hall series. I'm Mr. Charles Jefferson, the Director of Marketing and Communications, and we have a small but mighty group here with us tonight. President Tim Bopp, our principal, Dr. Quincy Payton, and our Chief Operating Officer, Mr. John Malloy. We have a lot of information that we want to share with you tonight. So a couple of housekeeping things, as always. If you have questions or comments or things that you need answered, we have the Q&A box as well as the chat box that can be found at the lower half of the screen. So please, as the night goes on, please feel free to ask or pose your questions in either of those two platforms. In a few seconds, I always say this at every town hall, I always talk about our parents, Holy Trinity Parents Facebook group. If you haven't joined that or you don't know about it, we'll put that link in the chat box. You can have a direct link to the Facebook group. Parents as well as the school, we share information about some things that happening in the school, and it's always a good place for you to connect with other parents. So we'll put that in the description or in the chat box. Also, there will be at the end, like there is at every town hall, we will have a Q&A portion. But as the evening goes on, we will try to address as many questions as we can, because we know that there will be many questions that you all have about things that are happening at the school, especially when it comes to the end of the school year, some of the activities that we have planned for our seniors, as well as athletics and COVID testing and all that. I think that is it in terms of housekeeping. As I said, there's a small and mighty group today. We also have with us Mr. Jonathan Tarasi, who is our Director of Technology. I believe we will be hearing from him a little bit later in the program. But without further ado, I'd like to turn it over to our President, Mr. Tim Bopp, who is going to welcome us with opening prayer as well as a couple of opening remarks.
Thank you, Charles, and good evening, Holy Trinity family. We are excited to be with you tonight, and we thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to be with us. As Charles said, we have some really exciting things to discuss with you as we head into the last month of school, including year-end celebrations. But let's start tonight, as we do every day at Holy Trinity, by putting ourselves in the presence of God as we pray. I know that especially at this time of year, there's much stress on our families and students and faculty members. So let us pray to the Lord for his help. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. By the power of your holy cross, transform our hearts and minds, that in your name we may transform the world. Lord God, please grant me peace of mind and calm my troubled nerves. I can't seem to find my balance, so I stumble and worry constantly. Give me the strength and clarity of mind to find my purpose and walk the path that you have laid out for me. Teach me your ways to respond to problems, and help me understand that your word assures me that you are always there for me. Make me understand that you have given me every tool and blessing to fight against those things that try to steal my peace. Heavenly Father, help all of us, our students, their parents and family members, our faculty, staff, and supporters, finish the school year strong and find peace in all of our efforts. In your name I pray, amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Just a few things from me. One of the points that I like to make to all of our students and their families, but especially our seniors, is that when the school year ends, our relationship does not. Some of our students, I believe, think that once they leave for the last day of school, that we all run away and hide somewhere until August. And that cannot be further from the truth. Many of us are here all summer. We're planning for the next school year. We're involved in internship programs, credit recovery, and many, many other activities. So that if something happens that we can help you with, please remember that we are here and don't hesitate to reach out to us. I say seniors especially because we have over the years experienced situations where once they have graduated, something happens with the college process and they don't know where to turn. Again, soon to be graduates, we are here for you this summer and really forever. So don't hesitate to call, email if you need help, need any kind of help. Remember, you are a Tiger for life. And speaking of the summer, we'll be very active this summer in making sure our building is a safe place for all. So stay tuned for information on a special project we will become involved with this summer. Probably that information will go out in the next couple of weeks. Finally, I'd like to thank all of you who have registered for next year. Mr. Malloy informs me that we have a record number of registrants. So thank you for the confidence that you have in us. It is very much appreciated. Finally, we have some open spots yet for next year's freshman class. So for those of you that may know parents and families of 8th grade students, please help them understand and make them aware of the great opportunities here at Holy Trinity. Don't be afraid to refer them to us and Mr. Parker, our Director of Recruitment. So again, we value the time that we have together. Thank you so much for being with us. And without further delay, back to you, Charles, for the program.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Bob. We appreciate that update. I'm going to hand it over to our principal, Dr. Quincy Payton. I know he has a lot of things that he wants to share about various things that are happening in the school as we approach the end of the school year. So I'm going to hand it over to Dr. Payton.
Good evening, everyone. It's good to see everybody. The first thing that I wanted to discuss today was COVID-19. And just to give an update in terms of where we are, we know we're about a week from our last closing. And I'd like to shed some light on not only that, but part of the reasons why we closed, and then have the segue of that go into athletics, as a number of parents have contacted me regarding COVID-19 and athletics and our student athletes. So as we reported back in January, our new threshold was if 3 students were found to be infected with COVID-19, that we would close. We were doing okay. And then as the weather began to warm, we did reach this threshold. And so per our policy, we decided to close. In addition to that, we had a number of students who were student athletes who were infected with the virus and who also were e-learners. Some of you I may have talked to about this, but a vast, vast majority of the infections that we've had in the building have been from e-learners who either came into the building or just simply reported that they had been infected with the virus. So in regards to that, we felt like we needed to make a change regarding e-learners coming into the building for sports. Since our most recent infections has come from that population, we felt it necessary that if you were e-learning, you couldn't come into the building or play sports unless you decided to change your attendance preference to either hybrid or coming into the building 4 days a week for in-person learning. So that is the reason on why, one, we closed, but two, why so many e-learners have had to either change their attendance preference or forego this year of sports. It was a tough decision. Initially, that was going to be our lead decision back in January. And the thought was, well, if they can play sports, then they should be able to come into the building. Our students who are athletes interface with other students from other schools. There's also concerns with traveling. And oftentimes for practice and things of that nature, there's a lot of close contact with students. So because of those concerns, we made that decision. We understand the ramifications of it and even the possibility of some sports not running this year because of a lack of students to participate. But here at Holy Trinity, safety will always be our guide and will always be something that we lead with. And so for those students who will not be playing sports this year because of this new rule, I want to say to you how sorry we are and how unfortunate this is, especially those of you who are seniors and are in your last year. It is tough. We did not come to that decision lightly, but we felt it was best for the building and for the safety of students, teachers, and staff. So to segue a little bit further into athletics, we have recently been informed that we will not be having a girls softball team nor a girls soccer team. Softball team issues stem not just from lack of students, but we're also having some issues with finding a coach. When we did recently find one, we didn't have enough students to field a team. For soccer, coach was in place, but we just didn't have enough students to field a team. As regards to the other sports, boys volleyball, boys and girls track and field, boys baseball, those sports are moving forward with their seasons as of now. The next thing I wanted to talk about was that I had a meeting with our counselors and our entire senior class this morning. For those of you parents who received a notice from me on senior dates and deadlines, the first item on that list was today. And so we met with seniors to kind of give one last meeting regarding some important things that they had to know and some things that we wanted to talk about regarding college, in large part because in talking with our seniors, many of them were unaware of the structure of college, how much college costs, the importance of filling out scholarship applications, and on college life. In addition to that, I wanted to address any student who was considering going into the workforce right after graduation. And then furthermore, students who were seriously considering military service. We talked about that this morning. We also discussed Senior Week, a concept that we came up with a few months ago to celebrate all of our seniors, not just because we know they missed so much this year with the pandemic, but to celebrate their last week, their last full week on campus. And we wanted to do some events. We're going to Six Flags, we're having a luncheon. The roving ceremony will be that week, as well as a Chicago scavenger hunt. So we wanted to have some fun. We wanted to keep costs down for parents, and we wanted to celebrate them to make sure that they know we are thinking of them, that we acknowledge and understand what this year has been like, but that we still wanted to celebrate them. And that meeting this morning went over fairly well. A couple things that came from that meeting that I did want to discuss with parents, because some of the parents have been emailing me about this. Last week, I sent out an email to all of our students and included an insert in the principal newsletter that all schoolwork, outstanding schoolwork, these are assignments that have not been submitted, must be submitted this week, or that assignment would turn into a permanent 0. For some parents, you may have already noticed that there might be a 0 if you're looking at Schoology as a placeholder in some of your students' assignments. Those zeros, which normally comes with a little orange circle, are basically zeros that are also still allowing students to turn in work. But I have to tell you, some of those assignments that were due were from back in February or March. Now, I told all the teachers that one of the things that we wanted to do during this pandemic is that we knew we were going to have to be flexible. We knew we were going to have to accommodate some students in large part because of what they're dealing with. And so we did. But even that has some limitations on it. We didn't want students on the last possible day, the last day, to submit a rush of assignments, thereby making that their teachers would have very little time to grade those assignments and grade the finals. So to eliminate that, all students have to get their work in this week. Come Monday, if your student still has a missing assignment, it will go down as a 0. Now they had this past weekend, they had today. Today is workday Wednesday. This is a day where students should be catching back up. They also will have this coming weekend. We are expecting all assignments to be turned in. And from this point forward, all assignments for the remainder of the semester should be turned in at the due date. This is something that we want our students to learn. When they go to college, that's not going to fly, turning in assignments late. If they're entering into the workforce, that's probably not going to fly either. And if they're doing military service, that definitely will not fly. Only Trinity cannot be the one stop in their journey where they felt like I can turn in my work whenever I want. And granted, we understand some of the challenges that some of our students are under. We get it. And that's why we've put these things in place. But again, even that has some limitations. So we're hoping that all students get their assignments in. I also told the seniors this morning that all detentions must be served and must be served by May 24th. That day is our drop dead deadline for detentions. Now, we haven't given out a lot of detentions this year, in large part because of the pandemic. Students who were late to class, who are e-learners, we had some grace for those students. And even students who were late to class in the building, we had some grace for them as well. But there have been some detentions that have been sent out for disciplinary reasons, for coming late to school. Class starts at 8 o'clock, those of you who are in the building. So whoever still has any remaining detentions must make sure that they're served within the next 4 weeks. I think that's the last thing that I have. Oh, no, I have one other thing. In May, in late May, there will be a slew of events that students will be going to. There will be an honors day, both for underclassmen and for seniors. It will be May 21st for the underclassmen, and the seniors will be May 24th. It's a Friday and Monday, respectively. We're doing it a little different this year, but the one thing we want to make sure we do is acknowledge all of our students for all of their excellence that they've demonstrated this year in light of unspeakable challenges. And that's not just in the classroom. We have some athletes that have done very well this year, and we'd like to acknowledge them. Holy Trinity espouses 5 values that are all over the place in the building, and that many of our students also espouse. Those who do this the best as it relates to integrity or discipline or any of our other values, we'd like to honor them as well. Parents, you guys will be welcome to these honor days on the 21st and the 24th. More information will go out about that to you in the coming weeks. In addition to that, for the seniors at least, we will have our roving ceremony on Wednesday, June 2nd. And I'm mentioning that because that is also a traditional and very solemn event for our seniors that we would like parents to come to so that they can experience it and that our seniors can be robed and we can share with our community where they're going to school and what they're going to be studying. We feel like that's important and that's something we want to share with our community. So if you're interested in coming to these, please let us know. And again, more information will be coming out on how you can come. We probably will be giving out tickets because there are some occupancy restrictions in the church where these events will be taking place. I'm going to go ahead and pass it back to Charles. I know we still need to hear from John, well, both Johns.
Yes, yes, we do. Thanks, Dr. Payton. We do have a couple of questions. The first question is, are parents made aware when students receive detentions?
Yes, they are. Normally it comes in the form of a automatic message that is sent from our student database that indicates that your child has been given a detention. Now, there have been some times where that message went out, but the student did not receive a detention because of one, the grace that we gave, two, the challenges that we've had with students coming on time to class who are e-learners. We acknowledge that tech issues do exist and they do happen. So we've given some grace on that. Usually when that occurs, parent is notified. If let's say a student gotten into a fight or something disciplinary at school, parents are also notified.
These next two questions revolve around the robing ceremony. Dr. Payton, if you could just talk a little bit more about actually for those parents who may not know what is robing ceremony? And then the other part of that question is how is that different from College Signing Day, which is this Friday, April 30th at 3:30 here at Holy Trinity. So we hope our seniors, most if not all of our seniors, will be able to join us for that.
Yes, we definitely want our seniors to come to that. So let me go ahead and differentiate between the two. And I would love it if Tim or John, if you guys want to chime in on roving, on our roving day, because this will be my first roving day. College Signing Day is much more informal. It's going to take place in our cafeteria. And basically, we're inviting all the seniors to come down, and all of the staff and teachers will be wearing a t-shirt or sweatshirt, given on the weather, from where they went to college. And if those students who know where they're going, if they have already obtained a t-shirt or some paraphernalia from the college they will be attending, we would like for them to wear that as well. Each of the students will be given an opportunity to talk very lightly and quickly about where they're going, what went into their decision, and what they might be studying, what they're looking forward to, what's going to be exciting about this next phase of life. In addition to that, Throughout the day, all teachers and staff members will be given raffle tickets. If your student can name a fact about a college that their teacher or staff member or administrator went to, we'll give them a raffle ticket. They'll be entered into a raffle that we'll do at college signing day. And the winners will be given a gift card to a place where they can begin shopping and purchasing things that they're going to need for college. So we want to be a part of that beginning and contributing to what they're going to need in order to survive and be successful. That's college signing day, and that's Friday at 3:30. The roving day is something that we put in our senior week because it is a tradition here at Holy Trinity, and it's more of a solemn event. Typically takes place in front of the entire school because we want our freshmen, our sophomores, and our juniors to see it, to see what it's like for a senior to go up, be robed by a teacher of their choice, and for it to be announced where they're going to school, and that each student gets a slot for that to occur. And Tim, if you guys want to say anything else about Roving Day, feel
Sure.
free to do so.
Thanks, Dr. Payton. The roving ceremony is very unique to Holy Trinity. So if you haven't heard of it before, if your student is a transfer and you're wondering what is it, it's understandable. It is for us, it replaces what a lot of Catholic schools has as a baccalaureate mass. It is, as Dr. Payton said, a unique opportunity for the student to make a declaration in front of the Holy Trinity community that this particular teacher has meant something very special to their high school development. And it gives the teacher involved an opportunity to have a few words with the particular student that chose them to robe them. And it is sometimes very emotional for students. It is a ceremony that speaks to the heart of Holy Trinity, which is the connection, the deep connection between student and faculty, student and staff member. It is about an hour in duration. There is also the recognition of some awards for senior class members at that ceremony as well. So if you have not attended and you are trying to decide if it is something worthwhile, let me wholeheartedly recommend to you that you as a parent and as well as your student attend, because it is very, very special to our community. And it's probably a ceremony that you and your student will remember from years to come. So I hope that gives you a little bit of a feel for it, but it is a very important moment for our entire community.
On that same note, not roving, but the honors ceremonies. If a student receives an honor or an award, would it be possible for parents to be notified so they can decide if they should come to the ceremony or not?
Oh, that's a great question. What we wanted to do was any student who is going to receive an award who is an e-learning student, or in this case, for an underclassman, a student in the blue cohort, we were going to notify them that for that day, we would like for them to come to the building. Now, some parents may still want to keep their child at home, and we understand that. So if that's you, and you're getting an award, but you're an e-learning student and you're not coming to the building, we will simply post your picture on the screen for all to see, and to make sure that there's some acknowledgement for your award for you. As far as parents are concerned, our auditorium, I believe, only holds about 400 seats. And we also will have teachers and staff members here. So we would be okay for one parent or one family representative to come on behalf of your student. But because of occupancy and because of you know what, we have to keep it down a little bit.
Graduation will be, graduation and as well as the robing ceremony will be at Holy Trinity Parish, where we usually have it, which is adjacent to our building. And those events will be June 2nd and June 5th, respectively. That's a Tuesday and I believe a Saturday for commencement or graduation. To answer
Wednesday and Saturday.
Wednesday and Saturday. To answer that question about where will the graduation be held. Is it possible for students to get more than 2 tickets for graduation if their families have been vaccinated?
It's not so much a vaccination question, it's more so an occupancy question. So we are considering families that are large that we can live stream graduation and have those members of the families that can't go into the church come into the building. Those plans have not been finalized as of yet. Our goal would be to be able to bring people into the building to watch graduation so that they are still remotely close to their student who's right next door at the church. Then once graduation is over, provide easy access for them to get back to the celebration that'll probably be happening in the parking lot. But because of COVID-19 concerns, we do have to be mindful of tickets. So as of right now, each student will receive 2 tickets for graduation.
What happened to the field idea for graduation?
We did look at one field, but they already had something planned for that date. And so when we felt like we could go back to the church, which is where graduation normally is, we were able to.
Is there a particular wardrobe or dress code for robing and graduation that students should adhere to?
For graduation, we would prefer if students, actually for both days, we would prefer if students were dressed nice. It doesn't have to be Sunday's best, but nice.
And final question, and then we'll move on. This is regarding the upcoming May 2nd late work deadline. Are all teachers required to honor the May 2nd deadline of missing work? And I believe you may have answered that already, but.
Well, it's somewhat of a nuanced question, and I'll say why. Because some teachers already had this rule. They've had it the entire semester. So when a student was late with an assignment, they were late. They were late from the get-go, back in January, back in February. And for teachers who had that rule, what I sent out has nothing to do with them. So we allowed teachers who already had a no tolerance rule for submitting assignments to keep their rule intact. My memo went out for teachers who had been working with some students who might have been struggling, who might have not been struggling, and just had not yet turned it in. Part of the issue with this is that, and I think I mentioned this earlier, I would go back to teachers and say, hey, why are these grades not updated? And about 99% of the time, It was because the students submitted an assignment late and teachers had moved on. They had moved on to new chapters, a new unit in the textbook. And so this was a way to catch the entire school up, that all grades would be submitted, but that all assignments would also be submitted. And so come Monday, we're all on the same page and we're all at the same level.
Just a comment here. This person has said that they hope that the school changes its mind about the 2 graduation tickets because people have been waiting for 4 years for this moment, which is understandable.
Very understandable. And if there's any way we can increase it, we will.
Hey, Dr. Payton, make sure the parents understand that it's not only our role, but it's the church's role. So our hands are somewhat tied here by their occupancy requirements as well, just so they understand.
That's correct.
Okay, well, if like I said at the beginning, if you have any other questions or comments, please put those in the Q&A, and we'll continue to try to answer those as the evening goes on. But we're going to shift gears here, and I'm going to bring in Mr. John Malloy, who is going to talk to us a little bit about tuition and registration and any pertinent information that you need to know about that.
Thank you, Mr. Jefferson. So as Mr. Bob mentioned, we're off to a great start with registration for next year. Thank you to all the families of underclassmen who have signed up. The deadline to register at the reduced fee of $115 has come and gone. We had a record number of families commit to come back to Holy Trinity next year, so we appreciate your dedication to the school. The registration process is still open. The fee has increased to $165. We're also still accepting applications for financial aid for the coming school year. If your student's financial aid package is not dependent upon a certain GPA or grades, you'll likely receive a financial aid award before the end of the school year. If there are certain criteria they need to meet in order to retain their academic scholarships, we have to wait until the grades are finalized, and you would likely receive your financial aid awards towards the end of June or early July. So we're full steam ahead in preparing for next school year, and we're available to help if you need any assistance with the registration forms, which are on the website, the registration fee, or the financial aid application.
Okay. Let me just look at some of the questions here. Can we look into? I just want to be sure that we get to these. But someone is asking, is it possible for us to look into another field to have graduation outdoors? Would that be an option?
We wanted to go outside. I think that was one of the first things that we thought about doing. Obviously, for any outdoor graduation ceremony, we would be somewhat vulnerable to inclement weather, for one, but then also the parks that we called already had reservations for those dates. And we're talking about a Saturday in summertime Chicago. A lot of the parks were already going to be reserved and probably had been reserved for weeks. So we felt pretty fortunate to have our graduation in the same place we always have it, but with the understanding that we know there could be some issues with how many people can come on behalf of a student.
Okay. Mr. Malloy, this question is for you. Is the registration fee refundable if a family decides to transfer?
No, it is not refundable. So it is a representation of your commitment that you will be coming back to Holy Trinity for next year. And if it was refundable, then that commitment wouldn't really be a meaningful one. So we do not make that refundable so that we can have confidence in the fact that your student will be attending and that we can have the appropriate number of teachers hired for next year and course schedules and can work on our entire operation with the clear understanding of how many students will actually be in the building.
Can I print out the financial aid application? When is the deadline?
So the financial aid application can be printed out from the website. It's on the registration page. There's a link there. We can download it and print it out. The deadline for financial aid was April 15th. We are still accepting applications though, so I would encourage you to submit your application as soon as possible.
All right. For upcoming sophomores, is there an academic scholarship?
There are scholarships available each summer. They're not traditionally ones that students have to apply for. We review all the course rosters and GPAs and look for opportunities based on the students' accomplishments, in this case, their freshman year. So we conduct that review every year. So if there is one that your student qualifies for, we'll be the ones to identify that opportunity and make that match.
This question is about junior rings. If someone still wanted to purchase a ring for their juniors, can they still do that, Dr. Baden?
Yes, I believe so. However, you'll have to go directly through the vendor. And if anybody who needs that information, if you send me an email, I can send it to you.
And this next question, I think we may have addressed already. Let's talk about the senior retreat, which I believe is
No, there's no senior retreat this year.
okay.
We have senior week, and what I can say to that is we felt like a whole week would be better than one day. And so we wanted to be able to do some other fun activities. So senior week, just for this year, just replaced senior retreat.
Other questions? Okay, well, we will definitely have a Q&A session at the end, so definitely keep those questions and those comments coming. And we will continue to monitor that as the evening goes on. We have our Director of Technology, Mr. Jonathan Tarasi here. And I want to bring him in to just give us an update about technology and just some things about in terms of returning technology as we approach the end of the school.
Thanks, Charles. So yeah, things are going pretty smoothly in our day-to-day, but we are, as we're approaching the end of the year, there are some technology-related things that we have to address. And with the Chromebooks, with the Chromebook program that we rolled out, this is actually the first year that it's reached its conclusion. And at this point, we decided that the best thing to do for seniors who have Chromebooks is to offer them for sale. So this is a device that the seniors have had their entire 4-year career. They've gotten used to the device. They know what it's capable of doing. And they put a lot of love and time into it, hopefully. And what we've done is that we have given seniors the option to purchase their Chromebook and all of its accessories for what we believe is a very nominal fee of $75. So these Chromebooks are, they're very capable devices. We purchased them, significantly for more than that. And to get a device of this quality would cost several times as much as what we're offering it. So it's another way that we can offer support to our students and give them a boost on their way out the door to whatever they're tackling next. So if the student needs a device going into whether it's the workforce or university study, we encourage them to consider purchasing that device so that they can continue to use it. I'm happy to answer any questions regarding that, so please save them for the Q&A. But I do want to note that when a device is purchased, we will, once the student is graduated, we will remove it from our administration. So there are certain administrative controls that we put on it to manage it for the school. Those will be removed when the student is graduated. So the student will retain full access to the device, and they can use it to its fullest capabilities at that point. For returning students who will be enrolled again next year, we will collect Chromebooks at the end of the year after exams are done, as we've done in the past. And in this instance, we understand that there will be some students who are taking credit recovery and some students who will also be doing AP-related study over the summer. If your student does not fall into one of those categories, we ask that they return the Chromebook so that it can be refreshed, any repairs can be done, and it can be made ready for the next school year. We keep it safe. We do everything that needs to be done with that, and we ask that all of the accessories also be turned in so that we can keep them together. And we will return to you the device and whatever accessories are turned into us. So in years past, a student would return the device and the case, but not the charger. And then when we issued it back to them, they would ask where the charger was. If you don't give us a charger or a stylus or whatever it happens to be, we will not have one to give back to you. So we return it, other than the repairs and updates, we return it in the state that it was given to us in. The last thing that I should note is that is student email addresses. So students have emails provided through the school. They are Google emails, but they have the @holytrinity.hs.org domain. That's their gateway to all the tools that they use on a daily basis. And once they are, this also pertains again to graduating seniors. Once they finish their study here, that account will remain open for a year because we understand that tied to the account, it's not just an email service, it's also their documents, any files saved in Google Drive, things like slide presentations, PDFs, any letters they might have written or college essays they've written. So because we recognize that, we do permit a 1-year grace period where the student will have their account remaining active for 1 year after they graduate. After that year's time, though, for security, we do close those accounts down. We will give notifications prior to that point, but we want to just make sure that you start thinking about a way to transition those emails and those files to another email address. So as your student's graduating, just make sure they have something ready to go and lined up. And I would also advise downloading anything that you would want to retain after your academic career here. So if there are those college application essays or other important documents, please download those. They can all be downloaded from Google Drive, and just keep those backed up in your possession so that they don't get lost in the transition.
Okay, all right, thank you, Mr. Tarasi, for that update. We do have a question as we kind of segue into our Q&A portion. We do have a question about the Chromebook program. Will it be offered next year, selling Chromebooks? The question is, will that same thing be offered next year?
Yes, this is the policy that we intend to have going forward. So once a student reaches senior year, when they graduate, they'll have the option to purchase the device.
Do current grades, now we are in our official Q&A section of the town hall meeting. So now is the time if you have any questions about anything outstanding that we did not address tonight, we do encourage you to ask those questions via the Q&A box or the chat. And I know we have a couple here. The first question is regarding current grades. Do the current grades reflect missing assignments, and will those grades be adjusted once those assignments are turned in?
Yeah, they will be adjusted, but it won't happen that day because we have to give teachers time enough to grade late work. And some of our teachers are already working on some new stuff. So just won't be done that day, but it will be graded soon thereafter.
Will there be a picture retake day?
The picture retake day was March 18th for spring break. That was a retake day and picture day for e-learners. I do not believe that any other day has been scheduled.
Other questions that people have? I know folks that might be busy typing away, but please, any other questions or concerns that you want to address or have answered at this forum, please do so via the Q&A box in the chat box. When can I purchase a yearbook and how much?
To my knowledge, yearbooks I'm assuming this is from last year. If it's from last year, you can pick up last year's yearbook by making an appointment with Mr. Rail, who is over our yearbook and picture day. And then the yearbooks for this year will be available in the fall.
And is there a cost to that, or is that included in fees?
That is included.
Okay. Also speaking about a picture or just information about ordering pictures, we will check with Mr. Rail about that, because I know somebody had asked earlier about how can we order pictures. And from my understanding, I believe LifeTouch, they issue a unique login code that you would need to enter into their portal. But unfortunately, many of our students are not in the building to receive pictures in their login code. So we'll work on getting that information to you, so you are able to order pictures or order your student's portrait from this school year. So please stand by for that information. We'll be getting that out fairly shortly.
Mr. Jefferson, that was included in the March 12th parent newsletter. I saw that question and checked the emails. So
okay.
There was a flyer included in Dr. Payton's March 12th parent newsletter, if you need help finding it.
Oh, that's correct. But we can resend it again. I don't think that'll be a huge issue if you somehow misplaced that email. So we have no problem with sending that. We will go ahead and just send that again, just so you have that fresh in your inbox, so you have that information, so you can go ahead and order that. Okay, so the access code is no longer valid. Okay, so we will check in with Mr. Rail, and we will get that rectified, and we'll send an email with the correct information by the end of the week. Okay. Some questions, let me see. My son received his code when he took his picture. Okay, oh, this is from Carla. My son received his code when he took his picture. I just purchased senior pictures. I had to reach out to LifeTouch for a code. Yeah, so we'll just for those who are still having trouble, we'll check in and we'll get you that information, the correct information on what you need to do in order to get pictures by the end of the week. That is our promise to you. Would graduation be live streaming in the parking lot? That's a question in regards to us live streaming a graduation.
Graduation will be live streamed, but it'll be live streamed in the church.
But and for this individual who I think the question may have been, will there be a screen or something set up in the parking lot? If I'm not mistaken, I believe we're going to have space in the building where as more of an overflow, where other individuals can go and watch the ceremony from our building, the school. And once the ceremony concludes, then you'll be able to reconnect with your graduate over by the church in the parking lot. Yes, a screen for others to see that can't go. So yes, we'll have space in the building, acting as an overflow for those who are not able to enter the church because of COVID restrictions, where you can be able to watch the ceremony live as it's happening in the church. And then, like I said, afterwards, then you'll be able to reunite with your graduate and with your family. What is the name of the program where HT pays for students to visit college out of state? Also, I assume there is a limit to this of how many schools to visit.
Yeah, great question. I'm actually not sure of the name of it. However, that fund does exist. We've taken 3 students.
College visit program.
Oh,
Yeah.
college visit program.
Mm-hmm.
We've taken 3 students on visits this spring. We would have loved to have taken more. We just didn't get that many requests, applications. We're hoping to highlight this a little bit more next year so more seniors feel more compelled to take advantage of it.
Okay. Would we be partnering with any agencies for vaccines for students?
Yeah, it's a good question. At this time, we've not partnered with any agencies or made any plans to do so. However, if an opportunity does come, we could look at that. At this point, what we want to do is make sure that students and families are aware of where those places are where you can get a vaccine.
Lorraine says, definitely, I wasn't aware of this program. I'm assuming it's too late now for seniors.
I can check with our senior counselor to see if there is still time. There is still money available, but I'll check with the senior level counselor to see if this can still occur.
Yeah, and the student could talk to the counselor as well. There may be the opportunity to take a visit unsupervised, without the HT counselor attending at this point.
Now, parents, senior parents who are on this call, you may have received an email from the senior counselor that your student missed their senior meeting with Ms. McMullen. We had those meetings in the fall. We are holding them again in the spring. In many cases, information like that would have been communicated to your student at those meetings. And out of 84 seniors, We took 3.
Okay. This question is directed toward Mr. Tarasi. This is a suggestion. HT should just give the seniors the Chromebook. It will be a great going away gift. Plus, you will be blessed.
We met about the form in which we would part with our Chromebooks. We got a lot of our leadership together, and we decided that because the Chromebook, because of the costs that are associated with the school, that this would be the best compromise point between giving the Chromebooks away and selling them for full cost. So it is greatly subsidized, but we determined that to continue to offer the Chromebook program, to keep it going for each successive grade of incoming students, that we would have to charge some kind of nominal fee, because we do have to replace Chromebooks every year. So I appreciate the thought, but know that we did consider it significantly.
How much of a notification rather, is needed for this funding for college tours and visits for the incoming seniors?
So typically, we only take students to colleges where they have already been accepted. And we look for colleges where multiple students have been accepted and have a desire to go to that school. So for instance, if we have like 5 kids who've been accepted at the University of Florida, then the school will agree to take them to the University of Florida, pay for the flight, the hotel, meals, and transportation, and then bring them back free of charge.
Okay. Any other questions that people have? We are now at 7:04. So any other questions that people may have? These are all great questions, and we're glad that we're able to have this forum in which you all can ask questions, and we can give you the information that you need to know, especially now that we are approaching the conclusion of this very unusual school year. But yes, any other questions that people have? Just as a quick note, this meeting is being recorded, and we will make this recording available on the school's YouTube channel by the end of the week. So if you want to go back and review this, or there's somebody that you know of that is not here tonight, this recording will be available for viewing on demand on our school's YouTube channel by the end of the week. Any other questions that people have? Any other questions? Please ask now. My student was selected for the program, but they weren't allowed to go because of their financial aid. Why was that?
Not exactly sure. John, is financial aid correlated with this program?
No, I'm not sure what that could be. My only possible theory would be something related to it's not a feasible option based on the cost, but I'm not familiar with that requirement.
Yeah, maybe the financial aid coming from the college that they're referring to.
Oh,
Or this person says it was an out-of-state school.
Well, the program is designed to help our students get to out-of-state schools. So we'd have to really know more details. If you want to send an email to either Dr. Payton, myself, or Mr. Malloy, we will check into it for you.
And I'll be sure to put their emails in the chat so you have those so you can connect with them following this meeting. Can I walk in to submit the financial aid application?
Yes, any day during normal business hours, weekday would be great.
Any other questions? Well, this is the $64 million question that has just come in, and this is certainly a hot button issue as vaccines, as more people are getting vaccinated, and institutions are making decisions about requirements for that vaccine. So this question is will COVID vaccines be mandatory for Holy Trinity next school year?
At this time, no decision has been made if that would be the case. We do understand some colleges have already come out and indicated that the students, for them to return, they would have to be vaccinated, and that would be mandatory for them to return. At the high school level, no determination from the Archdiocese or the Brothers of Holy Cross has come down to us indicating that we have to do that. We are looking at all of our options right now. We are monitoring vaccination rates, specifically in Illinois and in Chicago. And I feel like once we have the majority of the data that we can analyze, we can make the best decision for our community and our students.
I am muted, so nobody heard what I said. Any other questions? We'll take about a couple more minutes for questions, and then we'll kind of end our time tonight with some closing remarks. But any other questions, parents and guardians that you may have? As always, if you want to follow up with any of us afterwards, you can certainly email us. I did put the emails of Dr. Payton, Mr. Malloy, and Mr. Bob in the chat, as well as Mr. Tarasi. So if you have any questions, follow-up questions, or anything specific that you need to address with any one of us on an individual level, please do follow up via email or telephone. But last call for questions. If there are no other questions, I am going to hand it over to either Dr. Payton or Mr. Bob to sort of give, oh, hold on, I spoke too soon. Will we need tickets for overflow?
That's a good question. At this point, we haven't made that determination yet. We are seeking to have a good amount of overflow for graduation. But we also do understand some of our students have large families. And we do want to encourage as many of them to come and celebrate a momentous day, a once in a lifetime kind of day. So we are keeping that in mind. We have to do some counting and make sure that we can accommodate as many people as we can safely in this environment.
What is the feedback on the new Tiger Rally? I believe this person is referring to the new Tiger Rally that we had for incoming freshmen.
I was there. It was wonderful. I think we had 31 families that showed up. Students were great. Very excited about what we have to look forward to next year.
Dr. Payne, this question is also for you. Will there be a May town hall?
You know, initially when we set this up, this was going to be the last town hall of the year, given that it's in late April, and as we get into May, we can see the finish line. However, we will schedule another town hall probably the week before Memorial Day if it appears as though we should probably have another one, which may be in order for parents of seniors at least. So just that everybody knows for the last week or two of school, we're all on the same page. So to answer that, probably.
If there are no other questions, I see that our Q&A box is empty, and I don't think there is anything outstanding in the chat box. So if we do encourage you, if you have other questions, to please reach out to any one of us individually, and we will be sure to get you those answers that you need, and be sure that we are getting you the information that you need to ensure that your student is as successful as possible. But I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Payton and or Mr. Bopp to close us out this evening.
I'd be happy to, Dr. Payton. You've had a lot on your plate tonight. So I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. Communication between the school and the parents is a key. We always talk about the partnership that we have in the education of your son or daughter. And we will continue to provide these types of forums for give and take. We will also be available to you if you have any questions from this point forward. Know that May is a critical month as we head into the last days of school. We are here for you, but we also want to make sure that we celebrate together. There were certain questions that were very good questions, ones that we have not made any final decisions on. So we've been taking notes, and we'll make sure that we get through either the parent news or from some other type, either the Facebook group or the parents group. I want to make sure that we disseminate information about, obviously, graduation, about the overflow, about the streaming. So you always ask good questions. We try to be prepared, but of course, if there's something that has not been decided yet, we'll make sure we get that information to you. So again, God bless you. Thank you for believing in Holy Trinity and entrusting us with the education of your children. Please know that your partnership and our relationship is important to us. So God bless until we see each other again, and always know that we are here for your child and for your child's safety and development. Thank you and have a great night.
Good night.